dig up a past I swore and stay buried.
You will always be a monster.
Ares! I have nothing more to hide.
The ghost of Sparta had been born.
What happens when an Olympian god dies? Why can't they revive themselves? Do they have an afterlife? Let's find out. But first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more content just like this. The first question we must answer is, do gods have souls the same way mortals do? You see, the answer to that question is not so simple to answer. Technically, the answer is yes, because an Easter egg in the first God of War game talks about the soul of Ares and how Kratos has it imprisoned and tortured within a secret chamber that even Zeus doesn't know exists.
At last you are here. I have killed the Hydra myself, ripped the head off Medusa's shoulders, even killed a god of Olympus, but I have never seen such skill and strength as yours. You have conquered God mode. The time and dedication you put into reaching this point is worthy of celebration and reward. Sadly, what can I offer one such as you? The keys to Olympus itself? Hardly a gift I'm willing to part with. Perhaps instead, a private tour. Here, come with me. When I first made my way to the throne of Olympus, I noticed this chamber, impenetrable to all except me. Even Lord Zeus is unaware of its existence, but you will know its secret. Many have asked how I killed an immortal. How can a god itself be destroyed? For your reward, I invite you to gaze upon this. The true fate of Ares. The soul of Ares itself. The soul of war. The soul of hate. See how it writhes in pain. See how it struggles to be free, and yet here it stays, unable to breach the walls of this room. What does it want? What is it for? And more importantly, how can I use it when I finally decide to take revenge on him? Answers for another time. Consider yourself privileged, mortal. You have seen the true fate of my enemy. Now go! Our time together is at an end. We will meet again, mortal. I will see you again.
So technically, Olympian gods have souls. Or do they? I mean, after all, we did see Kratos snatch Hades' soul. But was that really his soul? I know that sounds like a dumb question, but just bear with me here. If the gods truly have souls, then where do their souls go when they die? And why can't they revive themselves just as Kratos does over and over again? I think that the soul of Ares we hear Kratos talk about in God of War 1's Easter egg, and the soul of Hades we see Kratos snatch at the beginning of God of War 3 is what we call astral forms. Remember, we don't know that these forms of the gods are not their souls, since the phrase astral forms is something the God of War community came up with. We don't even know that the souls of the gods are different from their astral forms. They can mean the same thing. Souls are astral, after all. But what difference does it make? Well, you see, Athena's soul or astral form ascended to a higher plane of existence due to the selfless deed she committed before her death. Ares' soul was tortured in a secret chamber on Mount Olympus, and Hades' soul was absorbed into the claws of Hades. But what about the rest of the gods' souls or astral forms? When a god dies, their soul usually dissipates into their domain without a physical body, and the god simply continues to exist without a material form. This is what was believed to have happened to a god after their death in Greek mythology. This dissipation of a god's soul into their domain is depicted by either a massive explosion or a sudden release of energy, which results in the complete destruction of the god's physical form after their death. That's why Hades' body didn't explode and his body remained intact, because his soul was snatched and didn't dissipate. That's also why Zeus exploded after Kratos beat his astral form, and not before his astral form or soul left the god. Oh, but what about Helios? Helios didn't explode, and his body remained intact. Shut up and do your research. Helios was a titan and not a god, so this form of dissipation doesn't apply to him. He died just like all the other titans. When they died, they just died. Anyway, theoretically, all the Olympian gods are still alive. They just no longer have physical forms that they can embody. Funnily enough, Zeus is the only Olympian god who was able to manifest his soul or astral form as a last-ditch effort to save himself. But Kratos beats it back into his physical body before it dissipated, again in an explosion. Only two questions remain. Ares' body exploded, so how did Kratos capture his soul? And Athena's body exploded too, so how come her soul did not dissipate but ascend to a higher plane of existence? My answer to those two questions would be that although Ares' body exploded and his soul dissipated into his domain, Kratos was able to retrieve Ares' soul since he took over Ares' domain as the god of war. And although Athena's body exploded and her soul dissipated into her domain, she was able to be remanifested by a higher power to ascend to the higher plane of existence for her selfless deeds. I like to believe that the underworld or an afterlife is a luxury only mortals possess. And Kratos' mortal part is what allows him to be able to go to an afterlife, be it in Greece or in Norse, and his godhood is what enables him to resurrect himself. I also like to believe that back in Greece, in Mount Olympus, which is now in ruins, Ares' soul is still being tortured in the secret chamber Kratos left him in, with no hope of being saved since Kratos was the only one capable of accessing that chamber.
His box was finally opened. The power of the gods unleashed.
You are still just a mortal. Every bit as weak as the day you begged me to save your life.
I am not the same man you found that day. The monster you've created has returned to kill you.
You have no idea what a true monster is, Kratos.